وَلَقَدْ صَرَّفْنَا فِي هَذَا الْقُرْآنِ لِلنَّاسِ مِنْ كُلِّ مَثَلٍ وَكَانَ الْإِنسَانُ أَكْثَرَ شَيْءٍ جَدَلًا. Suwratul-Kahfi, Surah 8, 54. وَلَقَدْ, and certainly already, صَرَّفْنَا. The word sarf, which we use for the study of morphology in the Arabic language, is derived from the trilateral root word sarafa. Now, Now, sarf means basically to change, to alternate. So, how we have a root word, and from that root word we change it to generate different types of words. Similarly, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in this verse is He has changed, given different examples in this Quran for the benefit of the humankind. So that is what he is essentially saying or conveying. Sarafna, I have translated it. So Sarafna, the na indicates it's we is in reference to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have already, it's in the past tense, we have already. So the already comes from the qad. We have already, and certainly we have already morphologicized. Now this word doesn't exist. I've innovated this term, I have coined this term just to not really a play words, but because we use sarf to indicate the study of morphology. So I thought it would be very good, and I have tried to capture the alternate as well a little later in the same verse in the translation. Sarafna, we have already morphologicized repeatedly. Where is this word repeatedly coming? It's coming from the pattern itself, pattern 2, verbal root form, pattern 2. Fa'ala, ayn shadda. So ra has a shadda over here. Repeatedly, fi hazal Qur'ani, in this Quran, that you can see a little later, because I have constructed it in a free-flowing manner, and that's sensible. You will understand why. Lin nasi, basically for the humankind, but we can say for the benefit of the humankind. How do you say? Min is usually from, but here we will translate it as using kulli, every, mathalin, example. Using every example, but if you observe kulli and mathalin, it is an idafa construct. So ideally a word of is required in between the two, but every of example doesn't make sense. So what we can do essentially is every sort of example. So that is what we can do. Every type of example is also okay. Every kind of example is also okay, but every sort of example, which I felt is better. I just felt in the sense, felt or thought through like that. No, I did a deep dive into the study, and I thought this is the most appropriate word to be used over here. As I said, type and kind are both okay, but sort is the best fit word in this context. Using every sort of example. Now, the next part, so as to expedite the explanation, is sort of implied. Why has Allah given so many examples, different sorts of examples? Is because he wants to, so as to expedite the explanation by means of alternating styles. Remember, alternate to alternate. So that, since I've not used it at the beginning, we have given alternate in terms of examples. So that's why I've captured this over here by means of alternating styles in this Quran. So lots and lots of examples are there in the Quran, different sorts of examples, different types and kinds of examples in the Quran for the benefit of the humankind. That part I've already translated and explained a while back. The next part is Wakana. Al-Insanu is the subject, but the human being, here wow is to be translated but, not and. But the human being, so we have done this, but even then, what has the human being done? But the human being, kana is past tense, so has been. Akthara shay'in. Now this again is idafa, but how do you say most of things? Most of thing. So you can say most things over here. It's okay. In most things or about most things. Jadalan. Jadalan is argument, but it's nasab, so it's a detail. It's an object of the sentence. The second part of the sentence. وَقَانَ الْإِنسَانُ أَكْثَرَ شَيْءٍ جَدَلًا. For this part. So there is an element of illogic over here. So illogically argumentative. So that sort of connotation is coming up. But the human being has been illogically argumentative about most things. Shay'an is thing, but as I said, how do you put it in idafa? About most of thing. Okay, but about most things is more natural in English language. I mean, English has evolved too, the old English and the new English. I mean, we don't call it new, we call it the standard English today, the modern English. But it has evolved. So similarly, Arabic has its own style. So idafa, that's the general rule. You put an off between the two terms when the construct demands that. Not always. Sometimes we do without the off and it still makes perfect sense. In fact, it's more free-flowing. So that's it. I don't think there is a whole lot of complications in this verse. We'll just read it once in a free-flowing running manner and it will benefit us, inshallah. وَلَقَدْ صَرَّفْنَا فِي هَذَا الْقُرْآنِ لِلنَّاسِ مِنْ كُلِّ مَثَلٍ وَكَانَ الْإِنسَانُ أَكْثَرَ شَيْءٍ جَدَلًا. And certainly we have already morphologicized repeatedly using every sort of example so as to expedite the explanation by means of alternating styles in this Quran for the benefit of the humankind. But the human being has been illogically argumentative about most things.